Hey everyone, this is Steven here, or as most of you know me as, Magic, and today we're doing a little bit of a different video. So I was watching this video that Dorko did on all the Five Nights at Freddy's teasers and ranking them on a tier list, and I was thinking, hey, maybe I could do a video like that. You know, rate all the teasers and give you my thoughts on them, and what I liked and what I didn't like, and also this is the first video with my voice in it, so voice reveal guys. Okay, so we've got all the Five Nights at Freddy's teasers here. So first off, we'll start with the very first image that was ever released for this franchise, basically. I believe this was before Five Nights at Freddy's became very popular, since it was the very first image that was released to promote the game. I didn't even know the game existed back then when this image first released, but you know, it's a very iconic image and I believe it does deserve at least an A tier. Okay, so here we've got the first Five Nights at Freddy's 2 teaser, grand reopening. I did see this when it first dropped, thought it looked pretty cool, and I believe it deserves an S tier. I just remember how cool it was to see a new model of Freddy for the first time, and just how exciting it was to see what the sequel had in store for us. Okay, so the next teaser that we've got here is the No Place to Run teaser. Now I remember seeing this and being very excited for FNaF 2. I wouldn't say it's as iconic as the grand reopening one, but still a very, very good teaser. Just seeing the mask being used in this teaser, seeing how this new mechanic would play out, was very cool to see. And it was also our first look at Withered Foxy, I believe. Ooh, so here we've got one of the most iconic ones. So this was the Something Borrowed Something New teaser. Easily an S tier for me. I remember seeing this and thinking, wow, why does Bonnie look a bit different in this? And he's missing a face. And then we also saw our first look at Toy Bonnie, which is pretty cool. I remember theorizing like how these toy animatronics would fit into the lore. That was pretty interesting. And, you know, where did Bonnie's face go? Okay, now this is the FNaF 3 I Am Still Here teaser. I remember everyone thought that this was like Golden Freddy or some kind of hybrid animatronic with all the toy animatronics built into one. But as we know now, it turned out to be Springtrap, which wasn't an established character at the time. I remember this teaser fondly because I remember coming home one day from school and looking at the website and just wondering what kind of character this was since it was so mysterious. And then I remember seeing all these fan edits of taking that image and then mirroring it to make a Golden Freddy. Then I believe Scott revealed the name of the character through some Steam posts, which, as we know now, is Springtrap. Okay, so this teaser is pretty interesting. So we see the toy animatronics in a box, but they're apart. And we see the number 3 obviously teasing FNaF 3. And I believe if you brighten up this image, you can see Springtrap. I'm gonna put this in B tier because I don't think it's one of the most iconic teaser images. Well, not as iconic as the other teasers in my opinion, but still a very good teaser. And it's always very fun to brighten up the image and just see what Scott's hiding. Okay, so here's our first teaser of the puppet, or the marionette, whatever you want to call it. And I don't actually remember seeing this one, but I do think I remember seeing YouTubers cover this teaser. And obviously when you brighten it up, you can see the marionette in the prize corner. I always like teasers when they show off a new character, and at the time we weren't sure how the puppet's mechanics were going to work. I'm going to put this in B tier because I believe other teasers are better than this one. It's still an interesting teaser, but not as good as the other ones on this list, in my opinion. Okay, so here we have one of the first FNaF 4 teasers. This is the one with Plushtrap sitting on the chair, and it's the little packages teaser, as I like to call it. I thought this was a pretty interesting one because this was our first look at a plushie type animatronic in the franchise, and I was interested to see what kind of mechanics would be brought into this new game with this new character. So I'm going to put this in B tier. I don't think it's as iconic as other teasers, but still a very good teaser to show this new character off. So here we've got the Phantom Balloon Boy Guess Who teaser for FNaF 3. Now this one is not one of my favourite ones, and I believe if you brighten up the image, it has the number 10 there. I vaguely remember this teaser if I'm being honest. If you remember what the number 10 was alluding to in this teaser, be sure to let me know in the comments down below, because I really don't remember. I'm going to put this in C tier because I don't think it's one of the best teasers. Now here's a really iconic one. Now this was our first look at Mangle in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. This was one of my favourite teasers because I think it does a really good job at teasing the sequel. And I always like a teaser that showcases a new model or a new character that's going to be included into the next game. And I'm sure you all remember this one because it was a very iconic one at the time. So that goes in S tier for me. Now this next one is very interesting. So this is a FNaF 3 teaser, except the game already released when this teaser was released. So I'm not sure why Scott decided to release this after the game launched. Maybe it was just a leftover teaser that he did plan to release before the game released. And you know Scott, he always releases games before the planned release date. The only interesting thing is it's all in your mind, which is kind of already confirming what we already knew, that the phantom animatronics are in her head. I'm going to put this in D tier because it's pretty much just a pointless teaser with not much to offer. So this next image is the offline image. I remember this was on Scott Games sometime after FNaF 2 released, I believe. From what I remember, people thought that Scott was maybe not going to be making another game, but then FNaF 3 teasers started dropping after this. I'm going to put this in B tier because I actually thought this was a fun teaser because it left everybody waiting and wanting for more. So the next teaser we have here is one of the first FNaF 4 teasers, and this was one of my favourite teasers that was ever released. And the reason being is because I remember watching 8-Bit Gaming's Theory Thursday video on this with Dorko, Razbowski, Ryan and other Ryan. And that was one of my most favourite times during the OG FNaF days, and just watching these Theory Thursdays every Thursday. And I remember this image specifically, and just how hyped I was for FNaF 4, considering how mysterious the Nightmare animatronics were at the time. So I'm putting this in S tier. Although it's a personal reason, it's just the reason that resonates with me a lot. So the next teaser we have is the FNaF 3 map. Now, this is not the most interesting teaser, it's literally just the map from FNaF 3. I'm just going to put this in C tier, although it's a cool teaser that shows off the map of the FNaF 3 location. There really isn't much to it, but it was cool at the time. One cool little Easter egg, whether or not it was intentional, is if you flip it, it looks like Scott's avatar. You can also brighten up the image to reveal the ventilation system, which was a new mechanic at the time. Pretty cool, but that's about it. So the next image we've got here is the FNaF 4 Nightmare Bonnie teaser. It's not the most interesting FNaF 4 teaser, but it is pretty cool, and the design of Nightmare Bonnie is awesome. And unlike Nightmare Freddy, his design didn't change during development, as if you look at the first FNaF 4 teaser, you can see that the Nightmare Freddy model has changed a little bit. Another interesting thing about the teaser is it does have text that says "Was it me?", which a lot of people did theorize was about the Bite of 87. I'm going to put this in B tier because although it's quite a cool teaser that shows off a really cool model, I still think that there are other FNaF 4 teasers that deserve to be higher. So next up we've got the Nightmare Chica teaser. Now, again, nothing too interesting, just like the Nightmare Bonnie teaser, there isn't really much here apart from showing off the new design, with the same subtext of "Was it me?" in relation to the Bite of 87. I'm going to put this in B tier with Nightmare Bonnie because there isn't really much to it apart from the new design. Although it was really cool for the time, and the design of Nightmare Chica still holds up today. So next up is the Nightmare Foxy teaser. Now, I think this is one of the coolest FNaF 4 teasers, simply because of how good the design is. It is a shame that the tongue was removed in the final game, but I'm assuming Scott removed it because it was a little bit over the top, but it did work well for the teaser. And another interesting thing is, if you brighten up the image, you can see 87 in Foxy's eyes. So here is the He Always Does teaser that Scott posted on his site sometime after the FNaF 3 trailer dropped. I'm putting this in C tier as it is only just text compared to other FNaF 3 teasers. Although it's only text, it is cool that it did tease Purple Guy returning in FNaF 3. And to add on, I would say this teaser is quite iconic as well. So the next teaser we have here is the first FNaF 4 Halloween teaser. There isn't really much to say about this one as it is only just Jacko Bonnie. It was interesting at the time though because it was our first look at a DLC expansion for a FNaF game, which was never done before, and no one was really sure how this was going to work for a FNaF game either. I'm just going to put this in D tier because this teaser doesn't really have much in it. Although it was cool at the time as this was the first time Scott teased a DLC themed around a holiday. Now the next teaser we have here is the best Halloween teaser, in my opinion. Just Nightmare Balloon Boy, standing there, menacingly. But seriously, just seeing a Nightmare version of Balloon Boy for the first time was just very cool, and it was also interesting because I remember Scott saying that Nightmare Balloon Boy was in fact canon, and to be honest, we still don't know why to this day. But other than that, I think it's a really creepy design, and a really cool teaser for the Halloween DLC. So I'm going to put this in B tier. So next up, we've got the next Halloween teaser. Now this is the Nightmare Mangle teaser for the Halloween DLC, and like some other teasers, it does show off a really cool design, but I wouldn't say it's one of my favourite teasers for the Halloween DLC. I'm going to put it in C tier as I think other Halloween teasers do a better job at promoting this DLC, and Mangle isn't exactly my favourite character. I also think the lighting in this teaser is a little weird, but it's an okay teaser. Now the next teaser we have here is the Jacko Chica teaser. Now I'm not the biggest fan of this teaser either, as it is just a recolor of Nightmare Chica. But I'll put it in B tier as I still do really like Nightmare Chica's design, and I think it translates well for a Halloween themed DLC. So the next teaser we have is the Nightmare On teaser. Similar to Nightmare Balloon Boy, this was a really cool teaser at the time, as it was our first look at a Nightmare version of another animatronic. I'm just going to put this in B tier, and the reason why is that I just think the lighting on the plushie is a little bit weird, and in my opinion it just doesn't really work that well. Although brightening it up, it does make for a better teaser. So next up we've got the teaser with Freddy's top hat in the spotlight. Now this image was posted sometime after FNaF 3 launched, and this was basically the first teaser for FNaF 4. I remember some people thinking that this might have been the end of the series, simply because of how vague this teaser was. I'm going to put this in B tier as I actually quite like this teaser. I enjoy teasers that are quite mysterious like this and just leaving everybody wanting for more. And I think this teaser did the job well. It was just a good example of a simple but effective teaser. The next teaser we have is just the hat teaser but without the hat. This can go on B tier as I think the same thing can be said about this one, in which I think it's just a simple but effective teaser. And I remember the main theory around this teaser being that Freddy just picked up his hat to symbolise that the franchise would continue. Other than that, there's not really much to say about this teaser. Now this next teaser is the Fredbear hat and bow tie teaser. Now this is easily an A tier for me. Now this is essentially the same thing as the last two teasers, but instead of Freddy's hat, it's Fredbear's purple hat and bow tie. And this was one of the first teasers for FNaF 4. And the main reason this is one of my favourites is because it was one of our first Fredbear teasers, and Fredbear was a very mysterious character at the time, which created a lot of theories surrounding this teaser. Now this next teaser, there isn't really much to say about this one, as it's just Scott thanking the fans sometime after FNaF 4 was released. I'm going to put this in A tier simply because of how iconic it is. Even if it's not teasing a new game, it's still a very cool image, and it just showed that Scott really cared about the fans. The next teaser we have here is the End teaser. Now I'm going to put this in C tier as there isn't really much here, and it's another one of those vague teasers that doesn't really tell us much, and I remember people thinking this might have been the end of the franchise. And unlike other teasers, there isn't anything to brighten up either. So this next teaser is the first major FNaF World teaser, which has the release date on it. I think one of my favourite things about this teaser is how Scott just changed all of the designs in the thank you image to the FNaF World designs gradually over time, just revealing each design. It was honestly fun just to see how all the original designs would translate to a more cute atmosphere. I'm going to put this in B tier as I don't think it's one of the best teasers, but it is a really good teaser for FNaF World in general, and I honestly really like FNaF World. And another thing I'd like to point out is that this is the version with the rainbow, and the funny thing is I remember Dorko's reaction to this and just how funny that was, so yeah, that's just a funny little thing that came to my mind. The next teaser we have here is literally just the same teaser as before, but a Christmas version, with Scott just wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. Nothing really special about this one. I'm going to put this in B tier with the other teaser, as it isn't really a teaser for anything, but just a nice message from Scott. And again, the next teaser we have here is literally just the same teaser again, but without the rainbow. Pretty sad that there's no rainbow in this one, but oh well, what can you do? I think we can all agree that the rainbow version was better. So the next image we have here is the first teaser for the Silver Eyes. Now I remember being quite excited for this when it first dropped because it was our first look at a FNaF book. Now I'm not the biggest fan of the FNaF books, but I thought this was a pretty good teaser for the first book, mostly because this was the first time FNaF had been adapted into a book, and it just got people excited to see where this would go. So I'm going to put this in B tier. So the next teaser we have here is the one with Baby's eyes closed. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is Scrap Baby. And this was technically the first teaser for FNaF Pizzeria Simulator. And I'm pretty sure this was on the FNaF World website for a while. Now I'm going to put this in C tier because I don't think it's one of the best teasers if I'm being honest. And it doesn't really give us too much. Although it is quite funny to think that we didn't know that it was Scrap Baby at the time. So the next teaser we have here is just the same teaser again, but with Baby's eyes open. I'm going to put this in C tier with the other one as it doesn't really show too much. And it's just not one of my favourite teasers. So the next teaser we have here is the Sister Location title reveal teaser. Now this is one of my favourite teasers of all time. I just think the way this teaser was done was really smart, and how Scott was revealing each letter for the title of this new game. I just thought it was really neat because it was our first proper look at this new animatronic as well, which turned out to be Baby. I personally think that the way that the lighting is done in this image stands out as well. So the next teaser image we have shows our full first look at Baby. So this is the first time we got to see her design. Now this easily goes in A tier for me because I just think it's a really creepy design, and definitely a very unique design compared to the other designs in the franchise. It was our first look at a humanoid type animatronic, which is what makes this teaser very unique compared to other teasers. So the next Sister Location teaser is the Get Back on Your Stage Now teaser. Now I'm going to put this in D tier, and the reason why is because I do think there are other Sister Location teasers that do a way better job at teasing the game. Although for its time it was cool to see some of the new mechanics that were going to be introduced into Sister Location. And as we know, this mechanic is what spawned the Controlled Shock meme. So the next teaser that we have here is a FNaF 4 teaser that I missed, and this is the purple bow tie Fredbear teaser. Now I quite like this teaser, and this easily goes in B tier for me, simply because any Fredbear teaser is just a win for me, considering how mysterious the character is, and it's always fun to pick apart the lore of a Fredbear teaser. The next teaser we have here is the Enid teaser. Now I quite like this teaser, it's a very cool teaser, and it's very different to other teasers, because this was another new character. And I remember everyone theorising why it said there's a little of me in everybody. But now we know that it's all of the Sister Location animatronics built into one. And it's kind of similar to what people thought Springtrap would be back when FNaF 3 released. Now I think this is quite a good teaser, so this goes in B tier for me. The next teaser we have here is the next Sister Location one, and this is the Biddy Babs one. Now, this isn't one of my favourite teasers. Again, it's cool to see some new designs, but I feel like the other Sister Location teasers just do a way better job at teasing this game. So that goes in C tier for me. Nothing too special in my opinion, aside from seeing some new designs. Now this one is quite funny, because this was released sometime after some information about Sister Location got leaked, and I believe it was the character names, or at least some of the character names. And I remember people freaking out and thinking that Scott was actually going to cancel or delay the game. But when you brighten it up or look in the source code, we now know that it was referring to something that happened in-universe within the games, and that Scott wasn't actually going to cancel the game because of the leaks. Now I think this is a great teaser, so I'm going to put this in B tier, and that's mostly because I like it when Scott does these quite meta teasers that mess with the fans, and they're really fun to pick apart. Now this next teaser we have here is just the release date for Sister Location with the Enid mask. Now this can go in C tier as it is just the release date for Sister Location, and there isn't really anything else to it. And when you brighten it up, there isn't anything there either. Now the final teaser for the video is the map for Sister Location. Now I did quite like this teaser when it first released. I thought it was very interesting just to see what kind of new location that Scott would create this time. But I'm going to put this in C tier as it is just another map layout, and although I like the map layout teasers, I do prefer teasers where they show a model. So overall, good teaser, but not as good as some other ones on this list. Now this is the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed this, and just listening to my thoughts on each teaser from FNaF 1 to Sister Location. If this video does do well, I will make a part 2 covering all of the other games after Sister Location. But to start it off, I just thought it would be good to cover all of the classic games from 2014 to 2016. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for watching.